Welcome back to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today we are going to test out some acrylic paint with HTV. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to apply some HTV, and then we're going to do some splatters of some acrylic. This has been kind of trendy. I don't think it's super out there yet, but I definitely see it continuing to grow. And then what we're going to do is we're going to heat press that to kind of settle it in. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got my t-shirt here. I'm using, this is 100% cotton. I don't think it really matters at this point. I'm just using a Gildan. I've got my Cricut Easy Press set at 320 degrees for 20 seconds. I'm going to let that heat up while we weed everything out. So I've already cut this out. I've actually cut this out with my Cricut, but you could definitely do this with your Silhouette and all of your machines. This is going to be a super easy project because you're just simply going to take the SVG file down below, you're going to upload it, and you're going to size it out to your t-shirt, okay? So like I said, we're going to have this down below for you guys, and this is 1+ credit. You're going to need a couple bottles of acrylic paint. These are Apple Barrel, which are from Hobby Lobby. You can get them at Walmart for like $1. So let's go ahead and start by weeding this, and then I'll kind of continue to talk about the things that we have as we're weeding this. So I've got a little bucket of water here with my paint brushes, as I want my paint brushes to be a little bit wet. And then, of course, as soon as I use my brushes, it's going to be a little bit before I wash them. I want them to be able to soak. So maybe have yourself a little cup of water or something there on the side. Another thing that you may need is a lint roller. So you definitely want to lint roll your t-shirt. You always want to make sure you do that. So I've got that. And then, of course, my little weeding tool. So once you kind of get started, I could actually just kind of weed a lot of this by hand because it's bigger pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to weed all of these pieces out. So we are doing a football theme week here. So we're doing several projects with football. So we're doing lots of different SVGs with HTV, adhesive vinyl. We're doing screen print. We're doing some sublimation. So definitely make sure you guys check all of these videos out. It is fall time, and it is also football season, so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to show you guys some of these awesome designs that we have for the Plus members. Now, on the site, you can also find other amazing designs as well, but these are just 1+ credit. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these pieces here. Now, there is another one that I want to try, and it is actually using screen print. So I'm going to show you guys how to create your own screen print confetti, but I'm going to show you guys another video, so stay tuned on that. We're going to do another video using screen print instead of acrylic, and we're also going to do some really fun stuff for Halloween, so definitely make sure you guys check back for that as well. Now, the reason why, since this is going to be football theme, our school colors are red and white. I'm using black adhesive here, and I thought it would be cute to go ahead and have the black specks as well. So I've got red, black, and white here. But say, for example, I used to live in New Mexico, and we were the Bulldogs. Our color was orange, white, and black. You could definitely do a white, you could do the orange, and then you can do the specks and stuff with orange, black. So you can add in multiple colors of this acrylic. Now, my daughter did this. Her and her friend did, I think it was like Paranormal Activity or something. It was something for the football. It was like a football thing with the band. So what they did was they took a black t-shirt, they took acrylic paint, red bloody handprints on the black t-shirt, and then they did white specks. It was so cute. So definitely lots of different ways that you guys can do this. Okay, so I think I've got everything weeded out here. So what we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and figure out about where we want this design, and we're going to press it. So how super adorable is this design? I really love it. And I can actually see that I missed this piece right here. We also did this same design on a coffee mug, so definitely make sure you guys check that video out. It's already been uploaded, or it will be up next, so definitely make sure you guys check that out. But this design is just a super great one, so let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm using my Cricut Easy Press. I'm using the 9x9, so I'm going to have to press this at least twice. So let's go ahead and get the Cricut Easy Press pad. So we're going to be using the 14x14 Cricut pad here, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my t-shirt up here, and we need to actually pull this back off so we can pull out the moisture. So I'm going to go ahead and take my lint roller here and remove any sort of lint. We don't want it to get trapped underneath our HTV. And then we're going to take our Cricut Easy Press here, and we're just going to go ahead and remove any sort of moisture. All of the area that you are going to have your design on. So you definitely want to get out that moisture. If you guys are new to making t-shirts, to find out where you need to place this, you can simply fold this in half so it's the side that's not sticky. We're going to fold it in half and just get yourself a little crease mark up there at the top. And then right there where your neck tag is, you're going to come, this is the center, and you want to come down around 4 fingers like this and then place your design like so. Once you're happy with your placement, we're going to go ahead and press it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just looking to make sure I'm right at the top to the bottom. So this is going to be perfect. I'm going to be able to get it in 2 presses. So I'm going to go ahead and hold this down. I'm giving it some pressure for around 15 to 20 seconds, and then we'll do the other side. Now, since we're using the Cricut Easy Press, you definitely want to flip it over and press again for 15 seconds. If you're using a heat press, you could do around 305 for around 10 to 12 seconds. And you don't need to flip it with a heat press. So we're going to press again. I'm giving it a little bit of pressure here. You always want to do that so that way you guys can get that medium pressure. All right, looks good. So now we are ready to go. This is a warm or hot peel, so all we need to simply do is go ahead and peel. You guys are going to get to see my mistakes. So when I went to peel this, I was peeling it way too hot and I tore these pieces off. Now they were kind of messed up, as you guys could see. And so what I actually did to remove those was this. Now, if you guys decide to try this, please do it at your own risk. This is super dangerous. If you guys are underage, definitely do not try this. Have your parents do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your Easy Press and you're going to flip it upside down. Be very careful. Don't touch this. So you're going to take your shirt, you're kind of like in the middle here, you're just going to feed it on enough to the pieces that you need to work with. So say for example, I needed to remove these. I'm going to let them get nice and hot here, just like so. And then I'm going to take a pair of tweezers. I love these ones from Cricut that are flat. You can simply grab it and it's going to peel off like butter. So if you guys ever make a mistake like that, then what you're going to do is very carefully, you're going to reach your hand under here. You're going to grab your press, get a hold of it, and then flip it back. So like I said, you're going to do that at your own risk if you guys want to try that, but it definitely works. You can also take a little mini Easy Press, a little iron, and do the same thing. So you guys can definitely do a spot. Now what I did was I went back inside of Cricut Design Space and I did a contour. So I took the same design, same size, and I just contoured out all these pieces except for these ones. So I didn't have to recut everything, just this. And I'm simply going to be able to line everything right back up just like so and hit it again. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up really quick. I'm going to cover everything with a parchment paper and then we're going to press again. I'm going to try to just get this area instead of the whole thing because we're going to add more heat with the acrylic. So I'm going to press this again, 315 for 20 seconds. All right, set that out of the way. Move this out of our way. Now, a way to cool this down even faster is we can go ahead and get our mat out of the way here. And I've got a granite countertop, so I can actually flip this upside down. And this is gonna cool almost instantly. You could definitely do this on a tile. Get your guys yourself a ceramic tile from Lowe's for a couple bucks. Keep it in your craft room, and that way you can use it to flip this over on to cool things down a lot quicker. All right, there we go. So now we've got it. Now, even just leaving the shirt like this shirt is amazing. This would be a great item to sell on your Etsy, you know, locally to your boutiques and things like that. Friends and family on your Facebook and stuff like that, or making them for yourself. But we're gonna take it a step further. So I'm gonna go ahead and move our little Easy Press a little bit. And I'm gonna take 2 pieces of parchment paper underneath. And then I'm going to put my t-shirt back on. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just protecting my work surface here. I don't have to because I'm on the countertops here, but if you guys were in another workspace that you need to protect it, I just want to show you guys, you may want to keep that in mind. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take some acrylic paint here. Like I said, I'm using a couple different brands. I've got Folk Art, this Apple Barrel. It doesn't matter what brand. So we're going to take some of that, and I'm just going to get it on a little parchment paper. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take my paintbrushes. I'm going to take my little water dish over here. And I've got a paintbrush for each one, and it's wet, right? So that way it's going to help kind of spread this around. So let's go ahead and start with the black here. So I'm just going to kind of dip that in a little bit. And then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to take my fingers here and we're going to kind of pull like so. And you can see those little splatters. See a little bit? Hopefully you guys can kind of see that. I'm getting some little bitty splatters. See that now? So the more I do it, the bigger they're going to get. So you guys can hopefully see that now. How adorable is this? So it's pretty cool. You can definitely just kind of stick around this area, or you guys can definitely get off into the sleeves, whatever you want to do. And I'm even going to go on my design. I do recommend to do this after the fact, so that way it's not going to get caught underneath our HTV and risk that peeling off later. So that was just one little thing. We can definitely go back in, and it does really help to have that brush wet when you do this. So I'm going to go ahead. Now keep in mind, this can get messy, so if you're in your craft space, keep in mind if you don't want to get this all over your Cricut machines like that. So see, I was happy with this. I can also dip it back in that water. I know you guys can't see it here, so you can definitely just dip that brush back into that water as well. Shake off a little bit, and that's going to help as well to get a little bit of a bigger splash. You guys see that there? So that's a tip there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to wash my fingers. So get my fingers right down into my little water dish here. You can keep a little wipey and paper towels on hand. So even just leaving it like this, I think would be amazing. But I want to add a little bit of that red in there because, like I said, our school colors, I think it would be pretty cool to do that. So let's go ahead and get down into this red here. I've got my brush wet. This one is an angle brush, where this one was, so you guys can see that the flicks. This is more of a, like a round brush that's a little bit longer. This one's a shorter, it's a little angle brush. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it at that angle and have it down and kind of splash. So hopefully you guys can kind of see those come in there, and then I'll dip back in and keep going. And as you guys can see, that color's even going onto my vinyl, so that's really cool as well. So we're just gonna go in, I'm gonna go in like one more time and really kind of get a little bit more, and we're gonna be ready to press. Now remember, if we go back into that water a little bit and then flick, we're gonna get a little bit of bigger splashes, as you guys can see there. I think this looks great. I'm gonna stop here, go ahead and get my brushes, rinse my fingers, and now I'm gonna let this kind of dry down just a little bit. I don't wanna go in super duper wet. I'm just gonna go ahead and let it dry down just a little bit, like I said. I've got a little bit of a water there, so I can take my little wipey or paper towel and daub that up. If there's anything that you kind of wanna daub a little bit out of, you can definitely do that now. I'm happy with this. You can get way bigger splashes if you want to. Get yourself a bigger paintbrush and really go to town. You could take this outside so it's not worried about your space, and really kind of splish and splash those all over. So feel free to get those all over the sleeves, the back, you know, have at it. I think this is gonna be a really fun project, especially for us moms, you know, that love football season, and we love to really dress up and kind of, you know, get fun and creative. So this is gonna be fun for the kids. All right, so once you kind of let this dry down a little bit, one thing that we can do to speed it up is you can hover. Do not let this touch that paint. You can hover above that paint just to kind of help it dry a little bit faster. So you just don't want to go on there super duper wet. And then whenever we do press, we're going to use a parchment paper to protect our Cricut Easy Press. Now you can definitely use your heat press as well for this project. But like I said, just keep in mind your craft room and space, kitchen, wherever you're doing this, to protect those flicks that are going to go everywhere. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to very carefully kind of get this out of my way so we can get our pad back down. So pretty much most of this is on that pad, as you guys can see there. I'm going to have a few spots out, and I'm not worried about those, okay? So everything, the majority of it is going to be underneath where I need to press, and I'm just going to press this in 4 different motions. So this is still just a little bit wet, and that's okay, but make sure that you cover this with parchment paper. You don't want to do craft paper because you don't want it to get stuck. So we're going to go ahead and go now. We're going to go over this 4 times. So I'm going to go ahead and press this, you know, maybe a good 10 seconds or so on each piece. So that's good. I'll go ahead and move it. We're going to press again for 10 seconds. This is not only going to dry that paint, this is going to lock it into that t-shirt. You could also do the same thing with the paints that are designed for your t-shirts as well. All right. Go ahead and press it again. Once again, we're just doing 10 seconds, and that's really all you need. All right. thing that we're going to do is lift this up. You guys are going to see some of that on the parchment paper, so you want to toss these out. And that's it. How super cool is this? I'm going to bring it up so you guys can hopefully see. Not only is this cool for football season, this will be really cool too to do for the Halloween t-shirts. So stay tuned. We're going to come back and do this again, especially with the screen print confetti. I'll show you guys that very soon, so stay tuned. But look at how cool that is. Isn't that neat? I really love these light splashes, but you could definitely get crazy with it. Like I said, you can also get super crazy and get one of those big paintbrushes and kind of really give those, you know, splattered out streaks and stuff. Especially if you were doing a Halloween and you had the red and kind of getting like that blood splatters and stuff. Lots of different things you can think of with this. Like I said, this is something that's started recently, and I really think it's going to take off. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.